reason. The lower reason silently makes reference only to your own personal experiences. The higher reason makes a silent reference only to the very being in you, and the endorsement comes spontaneously from within. The lower reason differs in its interpretation and application according to individuals, since it relies only upon the personal experiences of each, which vary according to temperament and environment. But the higher reason, proceeding through discernment and inquiry, moves along a special path directed inward and relies only upon the being in the individual, which is unique. Therefore, it can never be different in its application or in finding. What is the scope of reason? Reason is generally of two distinct kinds. One is Vedantic, and the other intellectual. In Vedantic, reason is a tri-basic character having sway over the experiences of all the three states. In intellectual reason, it is only mono-basic in character, being applicable only to the experiences of the waking state. Can you speak of reason and heart? Is there a relationship? They are not watertight compartments at all. Both of them radiate from the common center, the I principle consciousness. And you can reach that I principle through either. If you reach it through the heart, you will find the reason also present there, and vice versa. Reason includes the heart element also. The Shastras bear testimony to this. Reason or vidya or knowledge is represented in the Shastras as the spouse of the Absolute. This feminine aspect, attributed to the personification of reason, amply proves the prominence of the heart element present in it. Does logic have its own limitations? And what are they? Lower logic is divided into inductive and deductive. Both of them concern themselves only with objects assumed to be existing and deal with evidence and facts distinct and separate from one another. But when the very existence of the world, gross as well as subtle, is disputed and has to be proved, neither of these approaches helps us. Because here the I principle, or subjective awareness, is the only thing admitted to be existing. Here it is the higher logic alone that can help us in the proper manner. The lower logic can never do it. To the ordinary man, the only evidence available regarding the existence of the world is the evidence offered by the 5 sense organs. It is a so-called evidence that is taken up here and examined to show that it does not prove the world at all, but it proves only sense perceptions, or the senses themselves. In other words, the evidence proves nothing but the evidence. Therefore, it is no evidence at all, as far as the fact to be proved is concerned. If you assert that the world exists, it is your burden to prove that it does. The opponent has only to deny it until the existence is proved beyond a shadow of a doubt. Ultimately, even if you give up all argument and say, I know the world and so it must exist, that also cannot hold good, because you cannot know any object except through one of the sense organs. When this is so, it proves again that it is that sense perception or sense alone that is known, and not the object nor the world. Recognizing truth. How do I realize? You realize not by renouncing the world, nor by allowing the world to be, but you only take note of the fact that you are always standing as the truth. What does take note of mean? Is it active or passive? It is neither active nor passive. It takes place on the borderline of mind and the reality. You may start it as a simple thought and allow that thought to expire, leaving you as you are. You have grasped it already, just make that grasping stronger. Hitherto, you did not recognize this fact, but now recognize it. By such a recognition, the ego is immediately transformed into truth. If it is the cure you need, information about the composition and qualities of the medicine is not relevant. So taking note at the mental level may be taken to mean only remembering, though even remembering immediately vanishes, giving place to reality. To take note of it really is just to recognize. And in trying to recognize the truth deeply, you happen to be placed there to stand as that, and the recognition dies. So it takes you to a non-dual experience. Recognition is an acceptance of the fact of truth. Repetition of it makes the recognition deeper and deeper. Recognition, remembrance, and hope are the three props that maintain the continuity of individual life. Of these three, recognition stands nearer the I principle consciousness than the other two. What is meant by directing attention to? You have grown up from a baby to a man. It is a fact in itself. Can you say you remember it? No. You can only recognize it deeply. That is, directing attention to it. Direct attention to your real nature also in a like manner. What is spiritual thought? Thought is an exercise of the mind in relation to objects of the world. Thought about the truth is not a thought in the real sense, because truth can never be an object of thought. So spiritual thought is really a misnomer. It is misnamed. What is actually called a spiritual thought is only really a deep recognition of an established fact regarding the real I, which is beyond all subject-object relationship. The ordinary aspirant naturally desires to visualize and stand established in the ultimate truth, and also to know and feel that he does so. But when he visualizes the truth, he understands that it is never possible to know or feel it. It will take time for the samskara, that habit of that desire, to leave him completely. Therefore, every time that samskara comes up, He has only to direct his attention to the truth visualized, and the samskara will vanish for the time being. And when this is repeated, the samskara will die a natural death. If you say that you stand established in the truth, you are wrong. It is also wrong to say that you have not established yourself in truth. But in either case, it is mental recognition that is sought. Truth can never be recognized by the mind. Speaking consists of two distinct parts or components in it. The material part, composed of sound, words, and meaning, and the other part, consciousness, which is alive. Consciousness depends on nothing, but the material part depends on consciousness. Consciousness is the swarupa, the true nature of speaking. You are therefore directed to emphasize that self-luminous principle in speaking, which alone makes speaking actual.